Now, I've been on this platinum trophy grind for a few years now, and every now and again I find myself playing through a game that I perhaps wouldn't have even considered given a chance before. And in today's video, we are going to be doing just that by playing and getting the platinum trophy for Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. For the most part, I do actually find myself enjoying the games that I would never have tried and actually grow to appreciate it for what it is. Concrete Genie is a perfect example of this. It's a low budget game and just didn't look like something that I would have ever have played at the time. Saw the platinum trophy was relatively easy, so decided to give it a go and actually fell in love with the game and its characters. But every now and again you get a game that lets you down, and unfortunately this game is one of them. I remember being so hyped for this game when I saw the teasers, only to be let down when I saw the gameplay, and so because of that I never played it as it just didn't look like something that I would enjoy. And I can confidently say after completing the game that for 90% of this game, that stands. Which also made writing a script for this video so difficult. I didn't really have any interest in the story, no connection to any of the characters, and seriously struggled to find anything about the game that I really enjoyed. The story itself isn't terrible, the way it's told is what the huge letdown is here. You have boring missions, characters are very robotic in their movements, they have little to no expression on their face regardless of the situation. Whether you're having a sad moment or in the heat of battle, they're like, nah, I'm gonna continue to stare into this void, mate, like that's my happy place. The voice acting is subpar at points to say the least, and couple those with the fact that the characters in general just don't look that great or polished, really takes away from the story that they were trying to tell. The missions themselves have certain areas that look unique from the rest of the game, but for the most part you are literally going through room after room after room, nearly always a square shaped room, completing tasks that are literally go here, press triangle, well done, on to the next task. The combat itself is fun, for the first half hour or so anyway, until it gets repetitive. The stealth I didn't really care for as it only seemed to slow me down if anything, and it was relatively basic. During your werewolf form you did for the most part feel powerful, being able to just tear through enemies. The two different stances gave you some different abilities to play with, and it for the most part wasn't bad. Again though, because the missions were just genuinely uninteresting and the same thing just in a slightly different arrangement, this got boring pretty quickly as well. But anyway, enough of that, let's get into this platinum trophy and show you just what the experience is really like. We begin the game as Cathal, a member of the Fianna tribe of Irish werewolves, where he and the rest of the pack are working alongside eco-terrorist group Lambda Mankind to fight and bring down an oil company called Endron, whose president serves the worm with hopes and ambitions of disrupting the balance of Gaia. Rodko, full-time Ric Flair impersonator and the pack's leader, has planned for Ludmilla, Rodko's sister and Cathal's wife, to infiltrate an Endron oil facility to hack into its control network for Ava so that she can trick the system into thinking that the site is dry, with the hopes of forcing Endron out of the area. After saying our goodbyes, we proceed to talk to members of our group, including our daughter, but honestly, none of them had really anything interesting to say, so we went to bed. We eventually get woken up and get told that our wife is basically trapped inside of the facility due to the presence of an executive, and we make our way to the facility to go and save her. And so begins the repetitive nature of this game. Now, this level obviously acts as our tutorial level, and as we progress through it, we learn the basic mechanics of the game. We learn the stealth mechanics, which include your classic stealth takedowns.
Just want it fixed and fast. Some big shot just arrived on site.
Being able to use our very own crossbow, which by the way, just don't. It's absolutely dookie. We learn that we can access terminals to turn off security and open doors. And of course we get to turn into a werewolf and proceed to slaughter waves of enemies. Like I said in the beginning, overall the combat is enjoyable. You feel powerful even at the very start of the game, but where they don't really do anything else with the rest of the game to kind of push that up, it gets repetitive very quickly. While making our way through the numerous square rooms and corridors, we managed to unlock our first trophy of the game, which was the Spirit of Fae trophy for killing 5 enemies in one attack. We eventually find Ludmilla in the hands of another werewolf, who then proceeds to break her neck and chuck her towards us.
No! Please, no.
That isn't bad voice acting. That's the sound of a truly heartbroken man. Anyway, we get into a fight with the Black Spiral Dancer werewolf, which required little to no effort on my behalf, which was disappointing. At this point the gameplay hadn't done anything major to wow me, so I was hoping a boss fight might be able to redeem it somehow, but nope, it was easy. After dealing with the Black Spiral Dancer, Rodko and Rafik come in, but due to Kahal still being a werewolf and still being pissed, he proceeds to absolutely pulverise and kill Rafik before eventually calming down. This however leads Kahal to put himself into exile, leaving everyone behind. 5 years into exile, we find ourselves outside of an Endron weapons facility with our new friend Dusk. Our mission? To swap the labels on an explosive shipment meant for Endron. I shit you not, this is actually our mission. Now, while progressing through the game's missions and hub areas, I made sure to collect all of the collectibles, with this being the first mission that we can find them. These consist of stories, which are like your typical note or diary pages that we are used to seeing in games. Not sure how many in total are in the game, but we only need 30 for the 3 trophies related to them. And we also need to collect all 134 of the spirits that can be found, usually around plants or tribal artifacts. Now, there is no chapter select in this game, so I'm aiming to get all of them in this one playthrough to save me the pain of going back through this game again. While making our way through the facility, we of course find the explosives and swap the labels. Continuing on, we eventually overhear a woman by the name of Major Grainer talking to the weapons dealer, which leads her to revealing her plan of attacking Tarka's mill, Kahal's old cairn. We then had a little chat with the weapons dealer in hopes of finding out more information, however it just ended up in us turning into a werewolf and proceeding to clear the room of him and his guards, unlocking 3 trophies in the process. The Gaia's Wrath trophy for killing 100 enemies, the Sledgehammer trophy for killing at least 3 enemies with a single stomp, and the Unstoppable trophy for executing 5 enemies during a fight. We then proceed to make our way to Dusk's location to head back to Tarka's mill, and on our way there we unlocked a few more trophies. The Silent Strider trophy for performing 15 stealth kills, the Spirit Friend trophy for collecting all spirits in an area, the Knock Knock trophy for deactivating 5 reinforcement entries, and the Gaia's Fury trophy for killing 250 enemies. Yeah, believe it or not, that is all in just the second mission of the game. That is like 90% of the combat trophies already knocked out. We eventually reach our final square room where we make our escape with Dusk, finishing the mission and unlocking 2 trophies in the process. Arriving back at Tarka's mill, we find the woods are on fire and an army of Endron soldiers attacking the cairn. Along with them, Tank Girl, only this time she is in a mech and manages to take down Rodko. Luckily though, we are there to save the day and manage to disable Tank Girl's mech, forcing Endron to retreat. After saving the cairn, we find ourselves talking to Rodko, where he tells us of the current situation regarding Endron, and we insist that he lets us help. At this point we are given the ability to explore the Washington State Forest for the first of many visits, which I can't lie, has some decent looking environments. We begin by finding Ifen, Guardian of the Wild, where we pay our respects and he gives me the ability to upgrade our powers using the spirits that we find and collect throughout the game. He also gives me a side quest to find my fallen spirit friends and send them to him. This is one of many side quests throughout the game that we need to complete for a trophy. We head back to Rodko, where he finally agrees to accept our help and tells us that our next objective is to infiltrate Endron's training facility and mine to plant some explosive on the facility's power supply, which is apparently being powered by one main propane tank. We pick up the explosives and make our way there. On our way to the facility, I kept an eye out for the spirits that Ifen was looking for, and after finding all of them, I turn in the side quest, completing our first of... oh. Yeah, turns out on PS5, the Warrior of Gaia trophy is bugged. You're actually meant to complete all 6 side missions for the trophy to pop, but since release and as of recording this, PS5 will give it to you straight away after completing just one side quest, so nice. We also pick up our 10th story for the Taming the Wolf trophy. Once at the training facility, we see that they are taking on new recruits, so we use this as the perfect opportunity to get in without causing a scene, which is as easy as lying to a guard up front by telling him that we've come to join up. Like, seriously, no proper security check or anything? He just lets us through. This does, however, unlock us the Glib Tongue trophy.
This way.
Whilst making our way through the facility, we end up cutting through the medical sector where we discover that Endron are injecting some sort of serum into their recruits with reasons to believe that it has links to the worm and that Ava and Adana are investigating it currently. Soon after, we unlock the Trickshot trophy for destroying 5 cameras with the crossbow. We eventually find the propane tank, along with it a square room with waves of enemies, including a new type of juiced up soldier. He does and can take a little more damage than your typical enemy, but again, nothing majorly challenging. Once the room is cleared, we proceed to set the explosives on the propane tank and make our escape through the facility's ventilation. And while doing this, we unlock the Wise Wolf trophy for reading 20 stories. We unlock the I Hate Exos trophy for killing 3 Exos. And we also unlock the Elder trophy for unlocking one of the 4 ultimate talents in the game. Before finally unlocking the trophy for finishing the mission itself. Back at the cairn, we discover that Ava and Adana are back from their mission, and they tell us that while they were away, they had uncovered that Endron are injecting mystery molecules into their biofuel and that they are working on a project called Earthblood. However, they have nothing solid to really go on. We are then given our next mission, which is to infiltrate the dam and hack into their network, allowing Ava access to their systems discreetly and being able to cut the power to their defences. Now, at one point during this mission, we do complete a side objective which required us to speak to Victoria Vokes to find out more information on the biofuel project. We discover that Endron have been testing it on prisoners in Nevada, and we gain access to her terminal where we manage to get Ava the file she needs, but for the rest of this mission, it's honestly just the same as any other. Go through similar looking rooms, clearing out the same waves of enemies and hacking into a few different terminals, which eventually gives us access to the main control center's terminal. And after hacking the terminal and giving Ava access, we make our escape from the facility. During the mission, we do manage to unlock a few more trophies, which at this point is about one of the only things that's keeping me going. We unlock the Smoking Barrels trophy for killing an enemy with an explosive barrel. We unlock the Down the Hatch trophy for consuming our 10th flask. We unlock the Born Under the Moon trophy for reading a total of 30 stories, and at this point we no longer have to worry about going out of our way to pick these up, as there are thankfully no other trophies related to them. And of course, we make our escape and unlock our next story related trophy. Now it was time to attack our final target, Endron's fracking site. The plan was simple. I would go in to connect Ava to the central control server, allowing her to open up the way for Adana, giving her access to the servers containing data on the experiments that Endron are performing, and will allow her to copy the files over to Ava. While doing this, Rodko and a couple of others will head to the refinery to blow it up, distracting the facility's security. And while going through the mission, we spend some of our points on upgrading Kahal and unlock the Athro trophy for unlocking 10 different talents. Of course though, the plan doesn't go as planned. Adana ends up getting captured, and Rodko, well, unfortunately, during his attack on the refinery, he gave in and allowed his rage to consume him. Blinded by his rage, he had already attacked some of our friends, and when we found him, he began attacking us, which of course left us with no option but to take him down. Not all's bad though, as it does reward us with another story related trophy. After the fight, Ava informs us that they have taken Adana to the roof. However, when we get there, they are already making their escape. As we are leaving, Ava informs us that she has managed to intercept a call where it is mentioned that a package, likely Adana, is being transported to a prison in Nevada, so we decide to head back to the cairn to regroup. Upon leaving the fracking site, we unlock another story-related trophy. On our way back to the cairn, we encounter a few soldiers that seem to be infected with the worm as they turn into monsters and get significantly stronger. These are known as Fomori, and for the remainder of the game, they will be in the pool of enemies that we will come up against in every single room. On our way back to the cairn, we destroy some pumps that Endron were using to pump their biofuel and unlock the worm's payback trophy for defending Tarka's mill. And while speaking to Efen, we are interrupted by Tank Girl and another group of soldiers. Efen transports us to the Umbra and it was boss fight time, only this time she was going down. The fight overall was pretty easy. She doesn't do a hell of a lot of damage. She has quite a lengthy recovery time after each attack, and 90% of the time you can just continue to attack her without being interrupted. We finally take down Tank Girl, but just before we throw her into the empty expanse of the Umbra, we unlock another story related trophy.
What? Oh, damn it! No! No!
After the fight, Efen tells us that Endron has been pushed out of the region and now we can focus on getting back our daughter. We do this by infiltrating the Viridian State Prison under a new identity. The Nevada State Police have been hunting a serial killer named the Badlands Butcher for years, and that is the new identity that we will be taking on. While inside, we will be trying to locate and get into the secret underground lab where they are keeping Adana. Once inside, we meet up with our friend Dusk, who informs us that Long Shibetta and Seth are the top Donnies around here and have the most influence. We begin by visiting Seth, and one of the first things he told me to do was F off, so we politely declined by turning full werewolf on him and tearing him to pieces, which just so happens to unlock us the short-tempered trophy.
So you're the infamous Seth.
Oh, if you say so.
And even though we are in a prison, cameras everywhere, security everywhere, not one single guard in the room next to us had a clue of the atrocities that I had just committed. Shibetta, on the other hand, was a lot more compliant, however wanted us to do a favour for him before he helps us. You see, he wanted us to take out a few people, and one of these included giving Eric here the wrong pills. Sorry, mate.
What? What's happening to me?
Heading back to Shlong Shibetta, we tell him the good news and he gives us a security pass that will allow us access to Hadley's office, and once we get there, discover a sneaky elevator hidden away behind some shelves that takes us down into the prison's underground labs. We explore the underground labs and have unfortunately no luck finding Adana, however we do find a woman named Onawa of the Red Talons, and she tells us that Adana was being transported to Endron HQ. Seeing as we could use the Red Talons' help, we rescue Onawa and escape the prison, unlocking us another story-related trophy. We take Onawa back to her cairn in Nevada, where we also meet with their spirit guardian, Pachua. They wasn't so big on the idea of helping us out, but they were more than happy to stop attacking my people, so I guess that will have to do. Our next step is breaking into the Endron headquarters to rescue Adana. In order to do this, we sneak into the facility outside, avoiding the mines in the minefield, and proceed to make our way through all of the outposts, killing all of the enemies, taking them over, and allowing Ava to access the facility's control system and give us access to Endron HQ. Honestly, this part was just repeating the same thing 4 times over, so there isn't really much to say about this part. It was pretty boring. Even in a new environment, we were still just doing the same thing. Go here, kill people, press triangle, go there, kill people, press triangle. We do, however, get another story-related trophy for completing the mission and getting access to Endron HQ. At this point in the game, I had to make sure I wasn't playing a Mario game, because as you've probably guessed it, our Princess Peach has been moved again. We continue through the Endron HQ and unlock the Bane Crusher trophy for stealth killing 2 Fomori infected guards. We proceed to make our way up to the roof where we witness the President of Endron, Richard Watkins, initiate the Earthblood protocol, and all of a sudden we see plumes of black smoke being released into the environment. We then turn full werewolf and rush up towards Watkins' helicopter, but before we can get our hands on him are jumped by a red talon werewolf. It was boss fight time again, and much like everything else in this game, didn't provide any real kind of challenge. One thing I did notice though is that at some points when he attacked us, we would take silver damage to our health bar because, as you all know, werewolves are weak to silver, which leaves me with the question of how the hell was a werewolf doing silver damage to another werewolf without simultaneously hurting himself? Like, to me that just doesn't make sense. Although what does make sense is unlocking another trophy for killing the boss, as we have for almost every other major boss in the game so far. After killing the Red Talon, Ava informs us that she has discovered that Adana has been moved to an offshore black site owned by Endron, and that we would have to head there as soon as they have moved the remaining survivors. We then leave the Endron HQ, unlocking another story related trophy. While waiting for Ava and Declan to finish moving survivors, we unlock the Endurance of Heimdall trophy for finishing a fight with less than 5% health. And then we decide to head back to Onua to find out what her problem is and why she sent Red Talon to attack us. Turns out that due to the presence of Endron and the Worm, Onua, Patua and the rest of the Red Talons have been corrupted, leading them to agree to kill us in exchange for Endron leaving the area. Of course, that isn't going to happen, and it was time for yet another boss fight, although this one was different. This time the boss was corrupted Patua, which looked really cool by the way, but in order to damage him, we had to deal damage to the Red Talon werewolves guarding him. This would then allow us to get a brief period of damage into the boss again before rinsing and repeating the process. At this point I was quite happy to see at least some kind of change in a boss fight, so it left me with a glimmer of hope for the rest of the game. Eventually we take down the corrupted Patua, saving Onua and unlocking another trophy. After saving Onua, she thanks us for saving her and stopping the corruption, and reassures us that in time Patua will heal and be reborn again from his ashes. So I'm guessing that's going to be a pretty long time. At this point we are done here, so we then head back to Lambda headquarters to meet up with Declan, leaving Nevada behind and unlocking another story related trophy. Once we reach Endron's black site, Ava informs us that Project Earthblood is Endron's plan to spread their biofuel through the air, allowing the compound that was hidden within it to infect people, turning them into Fomori, and suggests that after we find our daughter, we bring this place down. We begin making our way through the black site sector by sector because of course it's never as simple as walk through the middle. In fact, it doesn't matter what game you play, 80% of the time you need to take the long way around. And with the help of Ava, we managed to hack into the security in each sector, ending the lockdown and unlocking the doors. Again, not much to say about the gameplay in this mission. We spent 90% of the time killing people and the other 10% of the time interacting with objects, so for the most part, it was going smoothly. Eventually though, after reaching the north sector, we come across 2 black spiral dancers enjoying a nice snacky snack. I think you can all see where this is going. It was time for another boss fight. Again, this was a fight that surprised me as they were doing something different again. This time we had 2 bosses to contend with instead of 1. Granted, they wasn't difficult, but I appreciate the change. What was cool as well was that when you kill one of the werewolves, the other one will regen its health and become enraged. dealing, from what I can make out, slightly more damage and taking slightly less. Again though, not really a challenge, and it wasn't long before we unlocked another story related trophy for beating them. Continuing on through the facility, we eventually make it to the west sector where we find our last spirit of the game, bringing our total to 134 and unlocking the Spirit's Guardian trophy. Which, thank God, because I would not have been happy about having to replay this entire game again. In the west sector, we eventually find our daughter Adana, only this time, she looks a little bit different. Okay, I lied, she looks a lot different. I mean, what the hell is that? It looks like something that should be in Resident Evil. Like, what are you doing here, bro? I mean, sure, we assumed by now something would have probably happened to her, but not this abomination. Even though it's our daughter, we can't let it live, and you know what time it is. That's right, it's boss fight time again, and I'm gonna be completely upfront with you. I was expecting big things. They had already switched it up twice, and now we have a boss that looks really cool. Surely it's got to be challenging or have some special mechanic, right? Nope, it was the most basic and straightforward boss fight of the game. The first boss fight of this game was arguably more difficult than this boss. I literally sat here and just spammed attack after attack after attack, and she was completely powerless. It's a shame to see that the big strides they had taken with the changes to the previous two bosses were forgotten about with this boss, and with no time at all, we had killed our daughter, unlocking the family reunion trophy.
Edie! Edie! I'm here! It's alright!
Dad,
I'm here.
it hurts. Dad, I don't want to die. I don't.
Edie.
Again, people, this is not bad voice acting. This is the sound and look of pure heartbreak. Now, at this point in the game, we are given a choice. In fact, it is the only choice that will affect what ending you get. Yes, this game has multiple endings. You see, after killing our daughter, Ava then tells us that the explosives are almost ready, but she needs us to help with the incoming Endron reinforcements. Now, we could do that, or we could go after Watkins and make him pay for what he's done. Of course, Watkins is located on another roof. This time we choose to go and help Ava deal with the reinforcements, purely because I don't want to go up to the roof again. We make our way to Ava, and at this point I'm expecting to have a group of teammates helping me fight off waves of enemies. That, however, wasn't the case, and we are left to deal with the waves of enemies on our own, and after doing so, unlock the trophy for saving Ava, which is our first ending of the game. We then see Watkins make his escape, and thanks to a news report discover that Endron has decided to withdraw their biofuel from going into the open market. Everyone lives happily ever after, and we unlock the To the Last Battle trophy for finishing the game and the Offshore Rig trophy for reaching the journey's end.
Find Watkins. Pentex is very interested in his research.
Now, with the game finished and me thankfully managing to get all of the combat and collectible related trophies out of the way during my first playthrough, we were saved from having to go through the entire game again, and I left but with one trophy remaining, and that is to simply kill Richard Watkins instead of heading to save Ava in the final mission. Now you may be thinking, hey, hold on, didn't you say there was no mission select? So how are you going to get the alternate ending without going through the game again? Well, even though we can't choose the mission, we can restart the level that is on our previous save, which just so happens to be the final mission. So again, we make our way through the final mission, and after killing our daughter again, rather than saving Ava, we head for Watkins. We make it to Watkins, discover that he can also turn into a Fomori monster, and it was time for another boss fight. I'm honestly not going to waste my time talking about this fight. It was, again, unfortunately, nothing spectacular. It was relatively easy, and for the most part, felt like any other Fomori I would have typically come across throughout the game, just with more health. we eventually kill Watkins, thankfully unlocking our final trophy of the game and rewarding us with a platinum trophy. So we're nearly done, guys, just clearing out a couple of these enemies, a few too many around. There we go. Right, Richard, where are you? There you are. You're mine. Come here. And there we go. This time it's personal. Oh my god, kill Richard Watkins. That means we have the platinum trophy. Legend, there we go. Oh my god. I am so glad this game is done. This, it's been a different kind of struggle. Let's just say that. So guys, with that being the platinum trophy, this brings us to the end of the video. So here's my thoughts. The game, at least for me, was a massive letdown. It was unfortunately just very boring and very repetitive. I know I sound mean, but it's just the truth. I get it's a low budget game, and usually I can appreciate what they're trying to do, and in fact I do appreciate what they're trying to do in this game, but it just falls so far short. And I've seen tons of other low budget titles do absolutely amazing, so there was, to be fair, not really any excuse. Although it is based off the tabletop game Werewolf the Apocalypse, the story is connected to the World of Darkness series, which includes games like Vampire the Masquerade, so it has a lot of lore and overall source material to pull from. Now, it does do this pretty well, from the characters to the werewolves and how they work, and, you know, the darkness, the worm, the wild. But like I said in the beginning of the video, the way that they tell it through the bad animations, the boring missions, the occasional bad voice acting, it just makes it such a struggle, at least for me, to get hooked into that story. Like I've mentioned a few times, the combat overall was fun, you feel powerful, you can tear through enemies, and you're a werewolf. That itself is pretty awesome. But where the combat is relatively basic and the missions are pretty much a cut and paste, room after room after room, just rearranged slightly differently, the enjoyment does begin to wear off pretty quickly. Would I recommend this platinum trophy? You know what? Even though it is easy, I actually wouldn't. That's purely for the reasons that I've just mentioned and overall my experience playing the game. However, if this is a game that has a world of lore that you enjoy and you're willing to look past its repetitive nature, then by all means go ahead and you will probably enjoy yourself. I just didn't personally. Anyway guys, this brings us to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, then make sure to hit that like button and share this video around. It shows your support, and your support is always greatly appreciated on my channel. If you've played this game before, then let me know how your experience went. Do you agree with what I say, or do you think I'm completely wrong? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, then why haven't you? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on to stay up to date with everything I upload. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in the next video.